Okay, in this video we're going to go through the review for 8.1 to 8.3. So the first problem talks about find the sum of the interior angles of each regular polygon. So the formula you want to be using is n minus 2 times 180. That will give you the sum of the interior angles. Okay, so if it's a 17-agon, then that's going to be 17 minus 2 times 180. And you should be getting 2,700. Okay, decagon, you've got to know that that's a 10-sided figure. So 10 minus 2 times 180 gives you 1440. Okay, next problems. The sum of the interior angles of a polygon are given. Find the number of sides. You're going to be using the exact same formula. Oops, sorry. Let me just do that over. Okay, so we have n minus 2 times 180 gives me the sum of the interiors. I know the sum in this situation. I need to find the n. Okay, so if you do n minus 2 times 180 equals 900. I'll work this all the way through. 180 n minus 360 equals 900. So 180 n equals, and add those together. So I get what? 0, 6, 12, and n is going to equal 7. Now, I don't particularly like that way of doing it, so I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to do it in a neater way. So let's do it like this instead. Since we know we have n minus 2 times 180 equals 900, instead of distributing that 180 and making things get so much bigger, I usually just divide by 180. And when I do that, I have a much simpler problem with a lot less multiplication going on. So n is going to be equal to 7, and that's a quicker way to get home on that problem. Okay, the next one, same kind of setup. N minus 2 times 180 has to equal 2520. You should be finding n to be equal to 16. Okay, looking at problem 5. You have to recognize these problems as two-step problems. So 5 and 6 is going to be a two-step problem. I have to first figure out using n minus 2 times 180 how many degrees I should have in here. Okay, so I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles. So therefore I have 6 sides. So my total inside should be 6 minus 2 times 180, which is 4 times 180, which is 720. So I have to have 720 degrees in there. So that's part 1 of the problem. Now I know that 720 has to equal 88 plus 105 plus 142 plus 140 plus 124 plus x. And when you solve for x, you should be getting 121. Okay, you're going to do problem 6 the same way. You notice that you have a pentagon with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 angles, so therefore it has 5 sides. So 5 minus 2 times 180 tells me I have to have 540 degrees in this shape, in this polygon. So then you're going to add everything up. In this case, you've got to add the 2x and the 3x to get 5x. And when you solve for x, you should be getting x equals 56. Okay, problem 7 is not interior. Okay, these were interior, that was interior, this is exterior. Okay, exterior always sums to 360 no matter how many sides it has. So what you're going to do is you're going to add these 5 terms up and figure out what the x is going to be. So I have 90 plus 60. Let's talk about our x's. 4x plus 1 more is 5 plus 2 more is 7. 7x equals 360. So I'm going to solve for my x, and I'm going to find that x is 30. So 30 is my x value there. 56 is my x value here. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Okay, so this says find the number of sides for each regular polygon, and this has been changed to 120 on your copy, so I'll change that here on my copy. So find if each interior angle is 120, how many sides do we have? So we're still going to do n minus 2 times 180. I know that each interior angle will be 120, so I have n interior angles. So if I want to know how many degrees are inside, I'm going to multiply the 120 by n. Okay, so this is a difficult problem if you don't first think about this. Okay, so now what can I do here? I have to distribute the 180 this time because I can't divide through the way I did in the last problem. Type. Okay. So then I have 120 times n. I am going to end up combining things. 60n is 360. Let me write that better. 60n is 360. Therefore, n will be 6. It's a 6-sided figure that I had. So it was a hexagon. So this was a hexagon because it has 6 sides. Each exterior angle, okay, we have to do very critical reading. Each exterior angle is 45. So I know that exterior angles will always equal 360. So number of sides times the measure of each exterior will always equal 360. So in that case, n will equal 8. Okay, move on to the next page. Okay, solve for x given that the shape is a parallelogram. Okay, so these are consecutive angles. That's what's happening here. So in this corner, u equals 115. If u is 115, v has to be supplementary to it. So take 180 minus 115, and you will find that v has to equal 65. Okay, so what are v's components? These red guys make up v. V has just been cut by a diagonal. So if 65 has to be equal to 29 plus 2x plus 36, I can do my math and I find that actually x equals 0 in this situation. So x is 0 is a legitimate answer there. Okay, let's look at problem number 11. These are also consecutive angles. So angle y is that sum. So what is that sum? So let's add those together. So we have 97 plus 33, and that's going to give me 130. So if y is 130, then I know that x has to be its supplement. So 180 minus 130, x is 50. Okay, so if x is 50, let's see if we can figure out what else we know. So 24x plus 2 has to be 50. So 24x has to be 48. So therefore x is going to be, what did I just do? Yeah, x is going to be 2. Okay? Okay, looking at number 12, you have to look very carefully here. So angle E right here, E equals 115. Okay, angle F has to be its complement, but its supplement, because they are consecutive angles. Okay, so what's F going to be? 180 minus 115. F is going to be 65. Okay, so what are F's component parts? Here is F. So F equals 31 plus 6x plus 4. So that has to equal 65. Okay, so if I subtract, okay, I'm going to get x is going to be equal to 4 in this case. Okay, so as I did that, number 12, I'd made one little error in math, which hopefully you caught. So when I added 31 and 4, I neglected to do that addition. So that means this is going to be a 5, right? And taking 35 from 65 doesn't give me 24. It instead gives me 30. So this is 30 equals 6x, and that makes x not equal to 4, but x is equal to 5. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so now let's look at 13. We're getting away from angles, and they are telling us that UW, so that's this whole piece right here, UW is 22. And AW is 2x minus 1. So what do I know? So if this is a parallelogram and they're telling us that everything here is a parallelogram, then I know that those two diagonals are bisected. So don't I know if all of UW is 22, isn't UA 11 and AW 11? Because you have it be bisected. So they want to figure out what x is. They told me that AW is 2x minus 1. I now know that equals 11. So 2x equals 12. So x equals 6 will get me the other bisected piece. Okay, so see if you like that solution. That was an easy way to get there. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. And so that's number 14. So 14, they're telling me that LQ, so LQ is a little piece, okay? And this is going to be really important. You've got to know what you're talking about. So LQ is 17. SQ is the entire piece. So SQ is all of this. Well, if LQ is 17, what's SQ going to be? Isn't that going to be 34? Because it has to be twice the 17. Since I know that SL has to be 17 also, since those diagonals are bisected. So that's going to really make life easier for me. So I now know that SQ is 34. So I can very easily solve for x. So 30 equals 6x. So x will equal 5. Okay? Okay, so moving on to 15. So 15, let's do the same thing we just did. We're going to analyze what they're giving us. So if KC, okay, KC is the bisected part. If that's 16 and CM, so CM is the other little piece. Well, that has to be 16 also. So therefore, when I'm trying to solve for x, I can say 16 equals 5x plus 1. So therefore, 15 equals 5x, and x equals 3. Okay, so we're done with that. So let's move on. Question 16. Okay, so for question 16, it says for each image below, determine if it is a parallelogram. And if it is, say why. So looking at this, I would say, okay, I know it has 4 sides, so therefore this has to be 75. And it is because opposite angles are congruent, so that makes that shape a parallelogram. Okay, what about the second one? I would say yes, so this is a yes. This is a yes. How come? Well, because I have bisected diagonals. So the diagonals are bisected. Okay? Okay, how about this next one? So I have a parallel and congruent. So I would say yes, because one pair of sides is parallel and congruent, and that will be enough to make that a parallelogram. So all of those answers were yes. Okay, coming down to 17. For what value of x is the quadrilateral a parallelogram? Okay, so these are already equal. So if I can set these two pieces equal, I will have a parallelogram. So 3x minus 1 has to equal x plus 5, and that's going to get me, let's see, 2x equals, excuse me, this is minus 1, equals 11, equals 16, so x equals 8. Okay, so if x is 8, that makes that a parallelogram. Okay, what about the next one? If you can have consecutive angles here, that's going to make x equal to 79. So as long as I have x equal to 79, I'm going to have a parallelogram. Okay, there's just a couple more on the next page. Let's do those now. So we've done the first two already, so we can get those out of our way. So I can just make them magically disappear. There's one. There's the other. Gone, gone, gone. Okay, we're going to focus on the last two problems here. And let's see what we have. Okay, so what's going to make these guys parallelograms? So these are consecutive angles. Okay, if they're consecutive angles, they have to sum to 180. So 5x minus 7 plus x plus 1 has to sum to 180. So that's going to be, let's see, 6x minus 6 has to be 180. 6x equals 186. So x will equal 31. Okay? All right, last problem. Okay, if we have these diagonals, if they're bisected, then it could be a parallelogram. So I already see that these are equal. So set the other two pieces equal. And what do we get? X equals 6 in one step. Okay? So that ends the review. So if you have more questions, ask me. Look back over your notes, and then you should be set for your quiz.